Hey, good morning everyone. It's Thursday, May 30th. Prices of BTC currently at 87.25. I wanted to pull up this chart to show you guys that a few weeks ago I explained how prices travel in trading ranges and they also travel in channels. Okay, whether they're ascending channels or descending channels, price is always either moving up, down, or sideways, right? There's only three directions a price can go. Okay, so it helps to always create big trading channels like this, or sometimes you may want to draw channels like this, okay, that are descending, and mini channels within that, right? So sometimes you have say a mini channel within a channel. So for example, as you can see, there's a large descending channel. Within that there was a mini channel right here, as you can see. Okay, so when you sort of draw channels like this, it helps you understand where exactly price is tightening in a certain range. And what that allows you to do is be able to set specific levels where it would be considered quote unquote a breakout of that channel. Okay, so in this case, a few areas of breakouts. One was over here about $8,700, which would be essentially the breakout of this big descending channel, right? So if we broke out of this line right here, that would be the first one, and then the second one would be that one right there, okay, which touches this wick and these wicks right here. Okay, so you can see why that's useful to sort of draw channels like that. Now within that large sort of descending channel, okay, we have something like this, which is a bigger trading range. Okay, so it's something like this. It's from the high of the trading range that we had over here, so right around 89.50, as you can see, and to the low, which was this wick right here, which was about 8,500. Okay, we're going to ignore this because this happened after this wick was created. So the real trading range is between 8,500 and say 89.50. And you can see that we've essentially been hovering under it, okay, or rather within it. But the EQ, which is the equilibrium of this channel, meaning the middle range, right, that is currently around 87.25. So that's why I have another line right here that goes right through that. Okay, you can see price is actually hitting that particular area perfectly because it's respecting the fact that this is essentially the larger 50% fib, if you will, of this entire range right here. Okay, so you can see why price is struggling a little bit, but more than likely I would say price will break out because we've already had a higher low. It's moving sideways near resistance, and as I've always said, when you move sideways near resistance or support, more than likely you're going to break through it. Okay, and even if price is coming to the downside and it's moving like this and price moves near support like that, more than likely it's going to shoot right through it. Okay, awesome. Let's go over here. This descending triangle actually did break down, but remember that the breakdown doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go straight down all the way. It just means that this, it broke down and now it looks like we may have a continuation back up. But for the most part, we still do look fairly healthy to keep trending upward. Okay, if we especially look at this chart right here and start going out on the hourly, say over here, what I spot is something like this. Okay, this is essentially your left shoulder, which is not as pronounced. This is your head, and this is that right shoulder. Okay, all of this actually meets us currently right around say 87.40, 87.50, just to be safe. Okay, so breaking through this neckline of 87.50, that makes our target from this bottom right here, which is about 84.25, all the way up here 8700. So that's about a $300 move from here on up. $300 should take us to about $9,050, which would clearly break this high right here. Okay, so we have to look and see if this inverse head and shoulders is going to play out. More than likely, it will, but even if it doesn't, this level is almost certainly looking like it's going to break. We've already broken out of this descending channel. We've broken out of this larger trend line that was touching these wicks right here. We're grinding up against this, 87.25 or 87.50 resistance right here. There's a high probability that this will break, okay? And when this does break, price will more than likely accelerate to the next closest point where it gravitates to, which will probably be this area right here, which is essentially where price wicked a bunch of times, as you can see. So that's about 88.50. So from 87.50, the next big resistance level is probably 88.50. So keep an eye on these key levels, guys, and try to do this on your own if you can, okay? I think I'm able to share my chart. So if I go here, click on this, and I can do sharing, you can come join the Cryptosomniac community, and I'll share this chart with you so you can follow along yourself. Or you can go to Cryptosomniac on TradingView. You can see all my different charts that I have posted. One of which that I posted a few days ago was this Wyckoff distribution. I'd stated down here that there's a very little chance of this happening, probably a 30% chance, but we must always keep in mind of views that sort of question your own beliefs, such as one price is consistently going up and everyone in the world is bullish. What could be the potential downside scenarios? Okay, so this is a potential downside scenario that I see. Remember that these lines do not represent time. They just represent a general way of price sort of moving in this manner right here. Okay, so this one being the up thrust, I'd stated that 9,300 we could go all the way up and then maybe come back down to 8,300, and that might create that Wyckoff distribution, where there's a large range of distribution happening. Distribution is essentially, smart money is selling into the hands of retailers because, they need someone to buy what they're selling, right? So if that happens, then this is essentially this schematic right here will be how it looks, okay? You'll first move down back to 8,300, come back to 9,300, essentially create a double top, head back down again, and then this is really where prices will accelerate and just drop farther and faster, okay? You can read about it here. I did an entire post on it, phase analysis, supply and demand analysis. Then I also compared it with the Nikkei, which is the Tokyo Stock Exchange. And I mentioned how, at some point BTC will have to sort of follow this reversal at the top. Actually, it doesn't have to. I'm just stating that historically, this is how once bubbles capitulate, they create a low and then they spike back up real hard. They do tend to reverse at some point, go back to test previous lows, as you can see right there. Okay, so something like that. And then they, have another few months of accumulation right there, and then a big rise back up, and then going beyond previous highs. Okay, but that takes a while. Okay, that was one comparison. Another one was gold, actually. So you can see gold did something very similar like BTC. If you really compare and lay these charts on top of each other, they look almost exactly the same in my opinion. Gold, after hitting this $200 top right here, came down, broke down. This is really the 6K level for BTC. Capitulation, low created. Then we went up, as you can see, just like BTC did. And then a big retrace, which came back all the way to 786 Fibonacci. So if we sort of did, a 786 Fib on this entire thing, right, on this entire move that we've had from, say, down here, which is 3,100, but then again, we're not done with the move, right? But let's just say if we were supposed to reverse, today, you can see that. Let me turn this on, the 786 Fib. The 786 Fib would be around $4,400, okay? I don't know if that's clear to read, but you can see it right there, okay? In that area right there. All right, so just something to keep in mind. It's always better to learn from our history than to simply ignore it, right? So point is, inverse head and shoulders being created, bigger time frames still looking very bullish in my opinion. These three candles essentially represent a three candle pullback, and this was definitely a hammer right here, as you can see, which was yesterday. And now to validate the hammer, we must at the very least close above the body open, which was about 87.15, which we've already done because prices are currently at 87.33, and closing above the wick of this, which is the high of 87.60. Okay, so closing above both these levels on this hammer right here will be very important, because then that will essentially validate the fact that this is a hammer and the next candle was a reverse bullish candle. All right, hammers are not hammers unless there's a follow through. All right, guys, they can just be hammers that are useless. Okay. Another thing that I want to talk about is being careful with where you trade. What exactly you're trading on, which exchanges. The Block Crypto as well as Bitwise Management, they did a big research study and they submitted their work to the SEC right here, as you can see. And they talked about how well-known exchanges, especially those that are operating in the United States, are following proper market making. They're also not allowing wash trading. They shut it down as soon as they see something like that. Wash trading is essentially being able to trade against yourself or generating fake volume, right? So a bot can essentially manipulate the order books by having flash orders between him or her being the seller as well as the buyer. Okay, that's how you ramp up prices, because the order books are so thin. There's really not a whole lot of people who are actually trading. It's really the bot trading against itself. And then really what happens is it generates a falseness of volume, as well as a sign of positive gains, because you can do whatever you want. You can bring the price up to as high as you want because you're basically trading against yourself. You have no significant sellers remaining in the market because the exchanges themselves are so small. And this way you generate fake volume. So here you can see trade size histograms for well-known exchanges. You can see Coinbase, which is a very well-reputable exchange in the United States. Coinbase has about 27 million volume. Kraken has 31 million. Bitstamp has on average 31. Poloniex has 1.4. And as you can see here, the fake exchanges. Coinbean, I don't even know what this exchange is, but has somehow 480 million. Bitforex has 241 million. X-Rates, OKX, 152 and 35. So if you're trading on these exchanges, more than likely at one point or even now, you are going to be subjected to fake volume, low liquidity. Low liquidity is essentially you not being able to sell at the proper prices because the spread is so wide. Okay, and the spread is essentially the difference between the ask and the bids, the buyers and the sellers. So for example, if you wanted to sell your BTC currently at the prices, as you can see, it's at $8,731, right? If you wanted to sell it at that price, on those exchanges that I just showed you, the lowest price, or rather the highest price that a buyer is willing to pay might be $8,600, because the liquidity is so thin. But on Coinbase, 8,731 might be the seller's price, and 8,729.99, which is a penny difference, might be the next buyer. What that indicates is not only are there enough retailers in the market, but Coinbase itself is doing a proper job of generating liquidity in the exchange. Okay, that's really what the job of an exchange is to do. They're supposed to create liquidity, proper segmentation in the order books. They also do not allow wash trading, high frequency trading to a certain extent. So that's the job of an exchange. If your exchange is not doing that, then they're basically trading against you, because you're never going to win against these bots. You're never going to win against fake volume, because you're never going to even know how to spot it. Okay? So take a look at this report if you get a chance. Very important to do so. But other than that, I still think, BTC is still headed up for another big leg up. I've spoken about how Altseason itself, if we start looking at the total 2, which is this big chart that we're seeing, a majority of this volume, as well as the calculation of the market cap, is attributed to some of the top 10, 20 altcoins, okay? Because they are the ones truly that generate, the highest amount of market cap, because they're worth either, a couple billion or many hundreds of millions, right? It's really not the small shitcoins that, move these total market caps by a whole lot, okay? So the point is that there are very few select altcoins, I personally think, that are moving positively with BTC. And those I've actually mentioned in my community. If you go check out our community, Cryptosomniac.com, and then you can come join the Discord channel. I think there should be a link right here, which you can click on, and then you can join for free. The free channels are essentially this one right here, community discussion, and the ones without the locks. You can see a lock right beside it. Those are all for Advantage members, and you can see Advantage members have a lot more channels, guys. So a lot of cool stuff happening in there. But anyway, I've discussed, some of my theories about how altcoins are not going to do too well in the upcoming market, where it's a big bull run, because I personally think that, if you start looking at charts like this, right? TRX, for example, okay, it's gone significantly down in Satoshi value, and it's trying to do its best to hold up BTC value, all right? So if it's not even, while BTC is moving sideways, it's not sort of jumping up like alts used to in terms of Satoshi value, when there's always a big alt season when BTC US dollar is moving sideways. If it's not even doing that, then when do you think it's going to come back up? Probably not for a while. Or, some of these coins may never come back, that might be their death might be necessary for Bitcoin's survival. Okay, so that's one of the ways you have to look at coins like these, like TRX, or even if you start looking at Nano. Okay, Nano, you can see it's been going down consistently. It broke through critical supports right here. The next big support that I see personally is, way down here, which is about 1560. That's a long way, down. Okay, so if Nano essentially hits this area as resistance, which is 2200, and this becomes resistance, this is probably going to come back down to 1500 Satoshis or so. Okay, so that does not necessarily mean that it's going to go down US dollar value, because all of these alts are actually luckily riding the coattails of BTC, because BTC has been going consistently up, right? So they're lucky with the fact that, their king daddy Bitcoin is going up. But if it's not, then they're in a lot of trouble, right? Because alts aren't even moving up in Satoshi value even when BTC is going sideways. So clearly there's been a trend shift, because back in the day we used to see Altseason happen when Bitcoin was calm and it went sideways, okay? But now it's not. So, it's a pretty big shift for alts. I think this might be the reckoning of alts. This is the monthly and weekly pivot. You can see that prices have broken through that. On a 3-day chart, I still see no real, sign of weakness, if you will. For the most part, I still see BTC sort of aiming at higher prices, 10,000, maybe 12,000, as I stated before. I would say once we start mapping out some Elliott wave counts, kind of like this, here's your wave 1, 2, 3 is probably up here. If this was a 4, in the fifth one, at least in commodities, because Bitcoin does operate like a commodity, the fifth wave is usually the strongest in commodities, guys. I don't know if you knew that, but the general rule of Elliott wave theory is that the third wave is usually the strongest and the most powerful, at least in traditional markets like equities. But commodities, it's usually the fifth wave that is the most powerful. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Now, if you start going into the volume analysis of each Elliott wave count, it's stated that the highest volume and the largest sentiment shift is seen in the third wave. So you can see the volume over here from this area right here, from the second wave all the way over here. It's essentially the highest volume, as you can see. Fourth wave volume, sell side volume, is typically very small. Usually between the third and the fourth wave usually goes down no more than 30 to 50% of this entire move of the third wave. You can see the fourth wave didn't even really go down that much. It went down maybe 15 to 20%. And then now we're in the midst of the fifth wave, more than likely. Okay. Fifth wave, typically the volume is a little bit lower than the third wave. So when we start doing volume analysis on this upcoming fifth wave, we'll be able to tell if it's really topping off at some point, or we might actually be in the middle of the third wave. Okay, I mean, the third wave very well could be way up here. Fourth wave could be like this, and then the fifth wave could be like that. The chances of that are more than likely, fairly slim. That's why I've had to count something like this. Okay. So with this being said, I've spoken on the previous YouTube video talking about how, once we do have sort of a break past 10,000, I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to short this region right here, this box. And really what's going to happen is, these are the people who are most susceptible to getting trapped, because prices will correct and they'll keep shorting and shorting, and then prices will rip through. And this is where I would say the final leg of the fifth wave will come, because it will be a drive of FOMO from retailers, as well as these shorts trying to short, and then they will have to cover, meaning that their shorts are going to be underwater once prices break through, say 12,000, right? This will sort of create that blow off top final leg up of the big parabolic move, because remember we're sort of still in this big sort of parabolic nature move right there. I know it's not perfect, but I think you get the point. I'm gonna see if I can just map it out like this. Okay, so that's really the big parabolic move right here, and this parabola at some point will just go straight up like this, and prices will sort of hit this top around say 13 or 14,000. My high was really 11,600 or maybe 12,000 at the highest. That might be really the end point of the FOMO. And then that's where the smart money will start selling, because shorts will have to cover, because they're probably shorting the 10,000 area. Retailers will buy in more than likely at the highest highs, because that's what retailers do. And then smart money might start selling here. Okay, and then we might see that big pull down, as I showed you guys here, for gold as well as the Nikkei Stock Exchange. Okay, I still do think that's a big probability. I don't think that we can just keep going straight up forever like this. This cannot be the start of a bull market. I mean, if this is the start of a bull market, guys, we're in for a rude awakening. Okay, because more than likely prices will accelerate maybe even to 20K, and then they'll just drop sharply. Yeah, that's probably what I'm more scared of. I would actually want a more consolidated movement where prices move in this big parabola, pull back, sort of accumulate over here like this again, and then sort of keep moving into 2020, to higher highs. Okay, that makes me feel far more comfortable. Kind of like this move right here. You know, this W bottom that I showed you guys, anywhere between 4 and 5,000. The bottoms are created, and then we hit 13,000 by, you know, this coming November. Okay, that would make me feel comfortable. But this straight moonshot, I don't know. It just makes me a bit paranoid, and it makes me really want to, you know, sell in this 10 to 12,000 area. Okay, but again, I still, you know, remain open in my positions in my community. I talk about everything that I'm doing very openly, where I'm adding, you know, more capital to which positions. You can see, you know, I'm pretty high up on each position. EOS 2% gain, BNB 14% gain, BCH 16.5% gain, LTC 16% gain, Ethereum probably a bit higher because I know Ethereum spiked up overnight, so this is probably 10 or 11% gain. BTC moved up a little bit too, so this is probably a 1 or 2% gain. So these are all my positions, guys. I create a new channel for the community. This is just showing, you know, new trade setups that I have in mind, or either alerts that are going off. You know, CMT BTC is one of them. I talked about Ethereum being another one over here for, you know, longer medium term. I'd also spoken about ENJ. If you start looking at these levels right here, if you start seeing a break of 2,700 Satoshis, that might be the area for you to get into. So I provide a lot of trade setups, guys. And, you know, you can choose to follow or not. None of it is investment advice. But if you do, you know, chances are that with either a tight stop or, you know, you take profits at the levels that I map out, more than likely your trades will be successful. Okay, because I've been doing this for a while, guys. I've been doing this for 11 years, and you know, one thing that I practice is risk management. You know, proper position sizing. As you can see, position sizing is essentially not going all into, you know, one particular asset, and understanding exactly, you know, how to get into which asset, when to average down or average up, when to take profits. Like I, you know, took profits on LTC. You can see closed 5% at one, or I think this was $100. Closed another 2.5% of the capital at 120. I'm pretty sure I closed this one right here. So, you know, understanding how to do all these things takes time. All right, and this is what I'm here to teach, guys. So definitely come check out our community. You know, click products right here if you want to join the Advantage program. Remember, like I said, really not a whole lot going on in the free lounge. I try to give as much time as I can to the free lounge, but a majority of my time, guys, goes, you know, in my community right here. Provided a lot of Bitcoin analysis for the Advantage members every single day. Like the video you're seeing right now on YouTube, I do this for my members every single day. Okay, you may get the video every 2 or 3 days, but this video comes out for my community, my Advantage community, every single day, and multiple updates through the day. Okay, you can see right here, every single update is mostly for the Advantage members. Okay, and beyond that, you'll see my long terms in here, you'll see my medium terms that I'm trading, and you'll see my short terms. And I even talk about my options positions. Okay, you can see over here, I sold my option call, 7250 call for the Deribit May 31st expiry at a 101% profit. Then I rolled this over into the June 7th calls for 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 strikes. Okay. You know, I provide tips, as you can see, if you want to understand how to trade options. We have a stock market chat, a Forex chat. So guys, if you're watching this, and even if you're not going to join, at least give us a thumbs up, or, you know, click on this right here if you have Brave browser, and click, you know, if you're watching this YouTube video right now, you could click send tip. It may say that we're not verified, but, you know, we are verified. I think Brave is just going through some bugs. Even over here, Cryptosomniac.com, you could click send a tip. That'll at least help us out. So anything that you can do, guys, you know, try to pay it forward. It takes a lot of energy and time to do these kinds of analysis every single day, and we do it, you know, diligently. We're not out there professing that we know everything. We're not out there shilling. We're not out there calling tops or bottoms. We just provide good analysis every single day, and that's visible all right here, okay, in gains reviews. You could see 11.8% ETC call, 20% right there, 11% right there, 12% on link, people talking about how our membership, 99 per month, is worth it. So you can see how much you get in terms of the $99 per month, guys. A lot of it, obviously. We have an ICO chat, and more importantly, we have a big educational channel. Okay, this will take you months to get through. I have a ton of information in here, and if you just come in here and check it out, you'll see a massive trove of information that I do only for my community. So you can go check it out, guys. All right, Cryptosomniac.com. Give us a thumbs up, please. And let's hope BTC hits 9,000 today, right, guys? All right, that's all I have, folks. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for always being an amazing community, guys. Good luck on your trades. I hope you come join. Happy Thursday.